Coming soon.
Coming soon.
January
20th.
Bum, bum, bum,
A
bum.
podcast you don't deserve, but the podcast you needed.
Bum,
The Joe
bum.
Show. It's a podcast, and then cue our stupid music.
Yeah, and then explosions and everything.
Directed by Michael Bay.
Two guys here to spring you
Nothing.
nothing.
It's a podcast.
The Joe Show. Guys, it is a new year with a new show. This is the Joe Show. I am Joe. I'm going to be your host on this show. And I've got my co-host here, Gabriel.
Gabriel. Hey guys. Yeah, I'm Gabriel. Joseph and I started a show. What is it? Would you want to tell this story? Oh man.
Well, we started this show last year. Was it late 2016 or early 2017? I can't remember. But we started this show, and it was just a thing we were doing so we could talk, because Gabriel and I have really long conversations, and we just talk about everything. And I was just like, it'd be really cool if we could record what we're doing. And so that's what we did. We recorded it. We had bad mics and everything. And
rather, it was your mics.
Well, yeah, I had good mics, but I didn't know what I was doing with them. You know, I was just buying mics. I was like, oh man, this is cool. I wasn't doing any research or anything with them. So I just bought mics, thought they were cool. And actually, one of the mics that I had a headset mic. It was like my old PlayStation mic. The padding on the ear looked like it was just eating away. And since it was ugly and everything, I gave that to Gabriel.
Thanks. It was comfy. I liked it. It had this little mute button that would get pinched in your armpit every now and then, so it'd be just like talking. Then it's like, your waveforms are missing. Are you? Did you mute it? Oh, whoops.
Well, also too with it, it was just we had a lot of feedback from the program we were using, and it was just your mic. I don't know what it was, but I would get the program running, and then I would get a bunch of feedback, and I was like, you'd be like, hey, I got this feedback, and I would hear this ringing, and I'm like, oh, we gotta stop because
We gotta stop it right there.
Yeah, I can't deal with this. And I had more of it was a performance mic, and it's one that you could put on a stand, but I didn't have a stand for it, so I was basically holding it in my hand, and it was super sensitive. So it's like any movement I made with my hand, you could feel it. If Gabriel was talking, I had this thing where I'd be swirling it around, and then you would hear me swirling it or bumping it and everything. So we weren't super professional with it at all. And,
yeah, and a lot of our stories and stuff we did were really scripted. Or unscripted, rather. Sorry. And I remember when you would hold the mic, you'd either hold it really close to your mouth, and then other times it'd be way out here. You can't hear anything you say. But
yeah, that was another problem I had, because it just depended on how excited I got.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, if we were talking, I was sitting there like I was that old guy on a jazz station, like, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing? And then when we would
how y'all doing tonight?
Yeah. And then when I would get like when we were just, I guess I have that backwards. When we were just chilling, I had it close up to me. But then when I got excited, I would flail it back and forth trying to talk to you. But now we got stands, so it all works out.
So we got new mics, new stands, thing to edit it with, and I don't have to be at your house every time we record. So right now, I'm sitting in my room.
wait.
What?
No. We can't get to that yet because
Why
this is
can't?
a story. We have to build up to that. We're not at that point.
I'm bad at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, we get a little excited sometimes.
All right, well, let me just back up to where I'm at. So,
Okay.
can we do that? Can I tell a
Yeah.
story? Just this
Yeah.
is okay. So me, I'm really bad at telling a story. I don't know why Joseph is like, "Hey, we should do a podcast." Because the reason why it takes me an hour to explain anything is because I come at it in little blips. It's like a blip here, blip here. Okay, well, this was in the past, but let me tell you 3 things in the future. Okay, now we're back to the past. Oh wait, no, it's like a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, it gets all messed up. But
Yeah.
I mean,
So we started it in 2018. Was how we started this thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was
My years
after.
all get messed up.
Yeah, it was after I broke up, and I was like, oh, I'm all bummed out, and you're just like, hey man, I'm here to talk, and I'm like, okay. So that's what we did. We just talked all the time, and then it was just like, we should start a podcast. I'm like, I just want somebody to talk to, and then you're just like, hey, well, we should start a show. What are we gonna call this show? And I was just like, I don't care. I just need a friend. And you're like, yeah, that's great, but podcast.
Yeah, I really forced Gabriel. Okay, so this is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. To be real with you guys, I think I tried to start doing a podcast with a buddy back in 2016. We had these crappy mics, and we were going to try and do like a web series slash podcast, and we had our
What
mics.
was that about?
But it wasn't about anything, and that was the thing. We just did it, and that's why it kind of broke up because we didn't really have a goal of what we were doing. It was just something we put together because a lot of our projects that we did, like filming and stuff, that's what happened. It's kind of like the mitosis song. That's something you guys will hear about down the road and
Yeah.
maybe in another episode. But with
We should bring that up.
Oh yeah,
later.
It's
Of course.
Yeah,
Of
that's
course.
gonna be a great show when we come up with that. I mean, we can write a whole show about that. But with the mitosis song, we basically got the textbook. I strummed about 4 chords over and over again, and then I had my sister-in-law Sarah. She started coming up with. She just went with it. And
Whoa!
started singing.
Are we okay? Yeah. So we're doing the. The thing was, it was fire from the hip. That's what it was.
It was what?
Fire from the hip. You didn't really know what you're doing.
Yes, and so that's how a lot of our our projects went. It was just boom. We were just we've got the equipment, we have the idea, let's do it now.
Kind of like this one. It was
Yeah.
just, hey, I got my mic in. Let's finally get this sucker pumped out. I'm like, all right. So
But what's different from those situations? So we Gabriel and I had been doing the podcast for about a couple months, and then this mother trucker here says he's going to go to Germany.
well, it wasn't just Germany. It was Europe.
Oh, he was
But
going
primarily,
to
yeah,
Europe.
it was Germany.
Yeah, so he told me he was going to Europe, and in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna do the podcast. We're gonna do the podcast, but here's the
You're like, well, we could do it on Podbean or some
Yeah,
other
I was
auxiliary website. I'm like, I don't know.
I was experimenting with different things, okay? Because Podbean, I thought, oh, if I get with Podbean, I was basically trying to find a free way to get our podcast out there, and Podbean was basically like, oh yeah, you have a certain amount of minutes that you can do, and Gabriel and I did a show, and it was about an hour and a half long, and that ate up most of our time, and then I was like, where the heck am I going to get these other minutes? And they were like, well, if you subscribe to us and you pay $99 for every month, you can get all your podcasts on and as many as you want. And I'm like, I'm not about to pay $99.
Your free trial of podcasting has
Yeah.
ended.
Yeah, I was like, no, forget this. And so this man goes to Germany. And so I'm trying to figure out all these ways, and I found Anchor. And I started messing around with it. It was really nice because you could hook you can record from your phone with Apple earpods, and so I started getting stuff on there. And Gabe came back, Sorry, Gabriel. I keep calling you Gabe, but
It's all good.
he wants to be professional. So Gabriel comes back, and he kind of has this attitude like, I don't want to do the podcast. It's not going anywhere, and that's not saying anything about anything bad about Gabriel, but Gabriel is a very he likes to have things in his future. He wants to do things that have a purpose. He doesn't want to just do it willy nilly. So when he heard that I had Anchor going and we actually can get the podcast out to places like Spotify and Google Play, he was like, "Oh, let's actually get this thing going." And I remember it because I was sitting in my car. He had just come back, sitting in my car, and I'm telling him about all this. And you guys should have just seen the reaction. It was like he was like, I was talking about the podcast. He was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." Yeah, and I was like, we can get on Spotify and stuff through Anchor. He was like, "What? Really?"
No, it wasn't just that. You like, we are on Spotify right now. You can go and look us up. I'm like, wait, really?
Yeah,
That's a thing?
Yep.
I was like, I had some music and stuff before. I was like, I tried to put on Spotify, but I never really followed through with it. I was just like, I don't know. How hard is it to get on the internet? I mean, that seems kind of hard. And, well, no, I guess it's not that hard. And, Joseph went through with it, and that was enough to, I don't know, get me in gear to like, hey, let's run this thing. Yeah, sure. I'll edit for you. All right, we're going to get these mics. Okay. And then we need to start coming up with stories. And then Joseph's over here like cranking out stories left and right. He's like, all right, we need to talk about this. We need to have this and this and this. And it's like, okay, so anybody listening to us right now, it's really hard for one of us. Like, you can hear Joseph in the background right now exploding like, okay, I got to add more information because it's like months of suppressed stories and excitement. It's like, Odie even bought the microphone once before, but something messed up with his Amazon shipment. So we were delayed by a week. And so it's like, okay, it'll be here the 14th. And then it's like, oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. We're going to have to wait another week. So now here we are. What is it? The 20th? The 19th? Yeah. So yeah. Joseph, I have a question. 2020 is coming up. What is your 2020 vision?
Shut up.
We should make that a podcast episode. Dude, we got to make that part of the episode. This is an ed. Dude, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
I got what you're saying. 2020.
No, but okay. Yeah, but backing it up real quick. What do you want to do? Like, you have an entire year open to your life now that you have the ability to live any way you choose. How would you do this? Because for me, actually, how about this? How about we go you and then me? Because we'll bounce this off. We'll do a little bit of this thing we call friendship or talking. Is that what it's called? Here's my question, Joseph. Where do you see yourself within the next year? What is your goals, life goals for years to come?
Well, I would love to do this the rest of my life. Just sit here and talk to you about what's going on in my crazy life. Do a lot of production stuff. That's long-term goals, though, so I'm taking a lot of small steps to get to that. That's on the back burner. Like I said, it's just a huge goal and taking steps. But short-term goals, especially for this year coming up, I really would like to knock out some of my debt. We're close. We're close to being debt-free. We really want to get a house. I would say working on my family is going to be my goal for this year. Just get everything right with the household. We want a house. We might try to start working on another kid, maybe. And that's what I kind of think. We're kind of career focused and family focused right now. We're really just trying to get our family the way we want it, so we can be comfortable and just kind of focus on our careers, So that's my goal. Working on family, get that debt out of here.
Yeah, get out of here, debt. We don't need you.
And working on this podcast, try to make it the best it can be,
Hey, I appreciate that.
So Gabriel, what are your goals for 2020 and the future?
2020 ends the future. Doing like the Usain Bolt, like just do it logo.
Just do it.
Lightning, lightning, lightning.
Hey, you kind of sound.
Lightning.
You kind of sound like one of those wrestler announcers. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Macho Man
2020
Randy and Hulk Hogan.
That's right. So, goals for 2020. Okay, I'm thinking I would do more adventure stuff.
Gotcha.
I really liked last year. A lot of fun towards the. Okay, I shouldn't say I liked last year. I liked the like summer of last year. It was really cool. And then after like August, I was like, dang, I got a lot of cool stuff going. Joseph's like, hey, want to start a podcast? I'm like, sure. What you calling it? The Point. No, how about the Joe and Gabe show? How about the Joe show?
The Joe show?
That's a lot of Joes, Gabriel.
The Joe
show?
show?
No, the Joe show, Joe. That's just me talking to you, and then you referring back to me. Joe show, Joe. Wait, I'm confused. Okay, so it'd be a show of us talking about nothing and everything. So what do you want to talk about today, Joe? Well, this. I really enjoyed doing this. It's fun.
Oh, man, I love it.
Because it's a good little side thing. I don't have to, like, edit large amounts of video on my computer. It's dumb enough, or I rather smart enough or capable enough to edit a few hours worth of audio decently. I don't know about my sound quality, though. I'm not wonderful. But it's fun because I get to talk to you and kind of bounce stuff off. And I don't know. You have a different way of doing things. I enjoy it. But yeah, adventures, podcast. I'll be able to vote this year.
Oh,
that's gonna be fun. As an American, that is my civic duty. What's another one? I will be able to legally do a lot of things now that I'm 18. But that was more of last year's deal.
Well, I mean, here.
But I can't smoke because that was one thing here. We can't smoke.
That is another topic. Okay, I'm gonna take this little segue right quick. I'm just
hold on.
All right.
Hold on
okay,
before you segue.
All right, okay. Just this little. It wasn't a segue. It's a little rabbit trail. So you go ahead.
Yeah. You want a rabbit trail?
I was just gonna go just down this little.
Hey, let it flow, man. Let it flow. Let it flow like wine.
So I don't understand. When you're 18, you're legally able to join the military, and you're legally able to vote, but you're not legally able to drink or legally able to smoke. I mean, if you go into the military,
and this is clarified. This is for Illinois.
Yes.
We are not allowed
This
to
is just
smoke.
Illinois. This is something they just passed this in July. They just passed this. You have to be 21 or up in order to vape or smoke any tobacco products. And
you are a vapor.
Yes, sir, I am.
The caper vapor.
So
I don't know
I mean,
caper has to do with anything.
It really didn't affect me, because I'm 24. So it was like they were like we're putting this new law in, and I was like, I don't care, do whatever.
Yeah, well, I think you were really supportive of it because having all your underage friends who just made it to 18 were like, Joseph, pass that vape pen. And you're like, go get your own dang vape pen. And now it's like, hey, until 21. You're like, that's 3 years I don't have to deal with this crap.
Well, there's like only one person that I share my vape pen with, and it's my boy Marcus. And we just go back and forth sometimes with it because it just depends on who's charged up, who's coiled up, and who's got the juice. That's how we base that on. So
that's kind of how our podcast goes, right? You know what I'm saying?
Who's
charged up, who's coiled up, and who's got the juice.
Yep. Hey, I'm like. But yeah, that was my little segue there. I just don't understand. I don't understand some of the things that are going on in Illinois.
Yeah. What the heck, Illinois politics? That's crazy.
Hey. When we started this podcast, that's one thing you didn't want to talk about was politics. So we ain't gonna talk about no politics. Now let's bring it on back to what you was trying to talk about. Let's bring it on back before we get in trouble, man.
Okay. And then other goals, I guess, for this year. Another goal I have for this year would be find an occupation. I guess this is for everybody all the time. Find an occupation that I could jive with. That's always been something. I just like, I need to find the right job, something you can wake up every morning and be like, I am doing the Lord's work. But I just, a lot of things I find, it's so hard to, I don't know. I like the word jive. Jive with.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, y'all about to get Serious Joe here, okay? I'm just going to turn into Serious Joe for a second. Gabriel, you can listen in on this, but I'm mainly talking to the listener.
If I make a poop joke, does Serious Joe go away?
No, because this is something the listeners need to hear. So here we go. Serious Joe.
Oh, dang, he is serious.
You guys should find a job that you love. Because this is just from my experience, and with any advice that I take, you can take it or leave it.
Can we say it at the same time? Ready? So if you find a job that you love, you'll say it with me.
If you find
you'll okay, we're doing the whole thing at once.
What are we saying?
We're saying the same thing that Wise Joe would, or what Serious Joe would say. So it's if you find a job that you
wait. Tell me what the ending is. If we find a job that we love, we have to.
Gotta say it at the same time. Okay. Ready, set,
if
go.
You find
you'll never work the same day. You'll never work a day of your life.
Right. Okay, here we go. If you find you ready? 3, 2, 1. If you find a job you love, you'll never work.
You're gonna suck at it because you never really could apply yourself, and your inner inhibitions melt your soul away. To the only thing you can do is think about, man, guys. If just I talked to that girl back at college, my life would be so much different now. And then the day ends with you drinking from a bottle.
I can't even give you guys good advice because this man here. If you find a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That's what I was trying to say. And
see, that's what I thought we were gonna say, but we ended up making it like a 7-minute segment. No thanks to you. I mean me.
You were the one. You kept going on and on. I was like, what is this man talking about? Yeah. But yeah, because I had this experience where I found this job and I was chasing the money. And you know what? It's thanks to your dad, Gabriel.
That's right. Thanks, Daddy.
And so I took this job and I hated every second of it, but it was bringing in a lot of money. The job I have now, I took a pay cut, but I love this job. I wake up every single morning and I love just going out and working. So that's my advice to you. Take it or leave it. If you can find a job that you love and it gets you by and pays the bill, take it, man, and just do it. All right, that's Serious Joe. Get on out of here, Joe. So I heard that you're going to Tennessee to ride the tail of the dragon.
So it's in the works. We are working towards getting out there. I believe it's between the Tennessee line and South Carolina. From what I've seen on Google, it's about a 9-hour drive here from Central Illinois out there. My buddy is way more into motorcycles than I am.
And what I heard from my father-in-law, it's a pretty good ride because he said he goes to like this, they have like this, I don't want to call it a festival, but a bunch of bikers, they go every single year, and that's all they do. They go up and down the mountains and just ride in this, the Tail of the Dragon. And from what he said, it's pretty cool. He wants to actually get me out there, but I told him I'm going to need a couple years of riding before I go out there, you know.
Do you want to mention the time you almost crashed as a newbie rider? That was impressive. You saved it so well.
I scared the piss out of myself. So Gabriel asked me to go on a ride with him and Caleb, and we're going. I had a couple of mess ups, but I was doing fairly well, and we start headed back home, and so we're getting ready to go back onto one of the highways, not interstate highways, back into Petersburg, and there's this car coming, and I'm like, you know what? By the time I actually get on the road, I'm gonna be way ahead of it, so I start going, but I start accelerating too much, and so when I start to make my turn, my bike's not turning. It's like, nope, we're going straight. And so I go off the road and into the grass, but I had let off the accelerator, hit my brakes, and she came to a stop.
And you saved it miraculously by the grace of the road gods. I don't know what you did, but you did all the right things. I mean, other than keeping it on the road, that would have been nice.
Man, I scared the piss out of myself. I was sitting there.
Yeah, you scared me for certain. Because, mind you, you are married and have a child. And you also have a motorcycle and little knowledge of how to ride said motorcycle. So the way, from my perspective of how this ordeal went down, it was me leading, you center, Caleb just riding shotgun, or tail gunner, I guess is the term that professional cruiser
and
riders
I like it.
use.
I like it that way.
So that, yeah, it kind of gives it a buffer. So anybody who's riding up on you, Caleb can kind of brake check them in a not an aggressive manner, but just to keep them distance from you. Gives you more room as a learner to work.
And I also,
right? So I'm leading up ahead, and I'm.
No, you go ahead. Go. I was just gonna say I also liked it because you were ahead of me, so you were kind of leading, so I didn't have to lead and say, "Oh, I don't know where I'm going." And then I also had Caleb behind me, so if anything, because you guys had the walkie-talkies in your helmets, so
yeah. So we have Cena headsets that we could communicate back and forth with, which I love. I feel like I'm way more interconnected as like almost like a drone. Think of like those quadcopters where they organize them and they all make these crazy maneuvers and they can all do it simultaneously. That's kind of how I feel with that. Like Caleb and I will do street maneuvers and we'll weave back and forth, and it's fun. But like you said, you get to see me in front of you and know where you're going. I also thought, at the time I didn't think about it, but now I realize you were taking cues from me as to left or right. I was taking that left turn, you were following through, and when I took it, I was a little spirited about it, so I quickly ran up to the stop, made my stop, and then jammed it in first gear and then swung left. I don't know, it wasn't knee scraping, but it was aggressive nonetheless, hard left, and you saw that and you're just like, all right, following through. So you made your stop and then tried doing the same thing, so you're giving it all this gas trying to catch up with me, and in doing so, up goes the bike straight tall, and you jump the T, and now you're down in the ditch. And I'm like, oh, Joe! On my back mirror, I'm just checking on the new guy, and where'd he go? I look over my shoulder, and there you are in the ditch, heading fast towards the ravine that clears over that bank. I'm like, no!
That would have been a great story, just like, Joy, we had to take Joe to hospital because the bike fell on his leg.
Yeah, that'd be a great story. Yeah, hey, Joy, your husband is dead. I don't need that.
You guys all been married for about a year and a half, so
it wasn't even been a year at that point. Like, it was fresh, and you're just over here getting murdered. Listen here. Hey, listen here. Guess what time it is? Oh, it's the social plug. Yeah, all right. What's the social plug? Visit us on Facebook and Reddit, and maybe even our website at tjs.show. Facebook plug at The Joe Show, also on Reddit, r/The Joe Show. Yeah. Yeah. Please excuse me. I probably said social plug like 4 times. Really, here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to explain. Joseph and I have many directions we would like to go with this podcast. This episode here was more of a test segment, and that's just kind of how it goes being a content creator. There's many different directions we could take things, but with our ideas, we could go any direction. So if you would like to give us some of your input on our social media pages, we would really appreciate that. Also, we might even do a Patreon. We haven't quite figured that one out yet, but we're working on it. Above all, we really just enjoy hosting this show. It's a lot of fun for us. So here's a segment that Joseph and I did a while back. It was more of a trailer thing, and we weren't really sure as to how we were going to put it in here, but I don't know. Here's a bone. Just enjoy it. And really, hey, thank you for listening to The Joe Show. From all of us, we really appreciate you being here.
In a world. Brother. Oh, yeah. Been pushing too many pencils lately. Hey, brother.
Say all the masculine things. What'd you talk about my thighs?
Yeah. Bacon. Lifting weights.
Feminine hygiene.
No, brother, that's not right. Feminine. Man's deodorant.
Lifting weights.
Chopping down trees.
Lumberjacks.
Pissing standing up.
Trucks.
Touching buoys.
Motorcycles. Children raising.
What?
Being a proper man of society.
Keeping chastity up.
Paying taxes.
America.
Shooting guns.
Scratching my balls.
Disregarding Europeans for their liberal mindset.
Smacking women around.
Eating sandwiches.
I'm standing up.